Wagyu myths. Let's get into it. Let's get into all these different Wagyu myths, why they're wrong, and why people still believe them. And if you love this Wagyu beef content, please subscribe and share this out with somebody. Let's keep this Wagyu beef conversation going, because this is going to be the next big thing. It's going to be all over the beef world. People are loving it, and I want to know what you guys think. So if you know any myths that we didn't cover, drop them in the comments, and we'll get to busting those myths and answering any questions that you have. But let's get into it. Myth number 1. Yes, the famous myth here that Wagyu beef cattle are fed beer, get drunk, and are massaged on a daily basis. So, no, that's wrong. Now, listen, they are very well taken care of animals, okay? They have room to roam. They probably get brushed every once in a while. They want to keep them in really low stress environments. I mean, most ranchers do. You want to keep your cattle low stressed, and especially Wagyu, because it takes a lot longer to raise these animals, and they're going to be more expensive. So you want to make sure that they're very low stress, that the cortisol isn't just pumping through them, and you can get some really tender, delicious marbled beef. So no, they're not massaged daily. You know, the drunk one, I mean, I'm sure that someone's fed them beer for like an appetite. Actually, Chef Tyler just sent me something this morning about this super expensive, exclusive A5 Wagyu that they're fed something with sake, like after the sake is done brewing, and you can taste the sake, and the cows get drunk. And I'm like, yeah, it's like super rare, but it's definitely a myth. Nobody's out there just massaging the cows all day, but they are making sure that they live in a really stress-free environment to make sure that the cortisol levels are low, and they can have some really great tender marble beef at the end of the day. Now let's get into myth number 2. All right, myth number 2, Wagyu beef only comes from Japan. Okay, I mean, you're right, the genetics do, but Wagyu beef can be raised all over the world. There's Wagyu beef being raised in the United States. There's Wagyu beef being raised in Australia. There's Wagyu beef in South America, in Europe. It's all over the world. So yes, the genetics have to come from Japan. But once the genetics are here and you have the genetics, or they're in Australia, they can raise full-blood Wagyu beef. So there's a bunch of different types of Wagyu beef out there, where there's crossbreeds and things like that, still Wagyu. But yes, they can be raised in a different place than Japan. But yes, the genetics do come from Japan. So they don't only come from Japan. So if you see a Wagyu beef, a cow, roaming around in the United States, you can't say, that's not Wagyu, because what if it's 100% full-blood genetics? Does that mean it's not Wagyu? Actually, it means it is. It's just being raised in the United States. So yes, genetics come from Japan, can be raised anywhere. Let's get into myth number 3. This one's one of my favorites, is that American Wagyu is fake. Now, we just kind of talked about it, right? Where Wagyu genetics come from Japan. So if you have the genetics in the United States, you can raise American Wagyu beef. Now, the term American Wagyu, I should do a whole video on, because there's a lot of people think it means 50-50 Wagyu Angus cross. Some people think it means just Wagyu that's raised in America. So I want to make sure we're all saying the same thing. I believe that it just means that it's Wagyu beef that is raised in America. So if you have full-blood genetics and you're raising a Wagyu cow in America, does that mean that it's not Wagyu? No, that means that it's totally Wagyu. And a lot of times too, American Wagyu beef, we talk about the F1 crosses and the purebreds and how it's raised for more of a U.S. consumer, right? So you want to eat that whole steak. So it's not going to be that A5 quality. We've seen some A5 quality American Wagyu for sure, but in general, it's not going to be that, because the American consumer doesn't want to eat that every night. They want to have a steak. So American Wagyu is definitely not fake. It is real. If you have the genetics and they're verified by the American Wagyu Association or Triple Crown Steak Challenge or anybody like that is reputable and has credibility in the industry, you will realize that American Wagyu is not fake, and it's all traceable back to Japan. myth number 4. Wagyu means A5. Now, I just did a huge video on all the different types of Wagyu beef, from all the crosses, from Wagyu black crossed with Wagyu red, or full-blood Wagyu crossed with an Angus cow, or A5. There's so many different varieties of Wagyu beef. So it doesn't just mean A5 from Japan. I know when you Google it, those beautiful photos come up of that like 50% fat and a little bit of that pink meat in there, and it looks like amazing. And yes, that is Wagyu too. That is awesome, incredible Wagyu beef, that A5. But it doesn't just mean A5. Okay, so it means that the cow has Wagyu genetics. So could be an F1 cross, 50% Wagyu, 50% Angus being raised in the US. That is Wagyu beef. You could have a full-blood, 100% full-blood Wagyu cow being raised in Australia. You could have a 93.75% Wagyu cow being raised in Brazil. These are all different types of Wagyu. So it doesn't just mean A5. When you see Wagyu, it doesn't just mean A5. There's a bunch of different types. So make sure that you're clear on that and you know what you're ordering. Because if you expect A5 and you get an F1 cross, you might be disappointed because it's not going to be that 50% marble. It's still going to be amazing. It's going to be a different eating experience. I prefer an F1 cross over A5 almost any day of the week. If I'm celebrating, heck yeah, I'm going to get some A5. But if I want to eat a steak, man, give me that beautiful US F1 cross, man, all day. Don't just think of A5. Tons of variety out there. Myth number 5. Wagyu is unhealthy because it's so fatty. Man, I think the next video I do is going to be about the health benefits of Wagyu fat. And so people think that it's just this super fatty, crazy beef. You're gonna need to see your heart doctor after you eat it. When in reality, it's full of monounsaturated fat, full of omega-3s, 6s, and 9s. So it has a lot of those heart-healthy omegas in there. And so think of it as closer to a salmon fat or an olive oil fat. Now those fats are a little bit better than Wagyu fat, but when you're thinking of the palatability, I could have something like amazing Wagyu beef that's almost as healthy for me as salmon and olive oil. Like, are you freaking kidding me? So because it is a monounsaturated fat and it has those heart-healthy oleic acids and omegas, it's actually pretty good for you, okay? Everything in moderation. I don't go eat 10 pounds of Wagyu and say I'm a health nut or anything like that. But when you want to have a protein that has some actual heart-healthy omegas in there, you know, you can grab some Wagyu beef and it's actually pretty dang good for you. So it's not super unhealthy, fatty beef. Myth number 6. Wagyu is too rich to enjoy. I can only have like 2 or 3 ounces and then I'm out. Yeah, if you're eating A5, absolutely. You can only eat a couple ounces because it is very rich. But I just talked about all the different varieties. So I could eat a whole 16-ounce F1 cross ribeye and just feel amazing. I mean, I'm going to be full because it's 16 ounces, but it's an amazing eating experience. So when you get to those higher levels, yeah, when you have A5, you can only eat a couple of ounces and you're going to be satiated and you're going to feel full and that's going to be great. But I don't want to feel that way every single day. I want to eat a whole steak. So even if I go to a full-blood ribeye, I can't even eat a full-blood ribeye by myself. And I love to eat steak, all right? So, you know, it is richer than your normal beef or a chicken or a pork. Of course, that's why we like it. So you got to kind of find the right level. If you just want to have a couple of ounces, grab some of that A5 and it's awesome. If you want to share a steak, grab a full-blood ribeye. If you want to eat something on your own, man, like a F1 cross, culotte, or New York strip, or zabuton, or something like that. I mean, you can find something in the whole spectrum of Wagyu. It's a ginormous spectrum. There's a lot of variety in there. So it's not just too rich to enjoy. Find that perfect steak and have a great eating experience. All right, myth number 7. Wagyu tastes the same no matter where it comes from. Now, I've heard this from people walking into our butcher shop. We would have Australian Wagyu, we would have Japanese A5 Wagyu, and we'd have U.S. American Wagyu. And they're like, I just don't like Wagyu. I've had it, just kind of tastes the same. I'm like, it absolutely does not. You can think about wine. Does wine from Australia taste the same as wine from Brazil, or wine from Mexico, or wine from France, or wine from Spain, or from Italy? They're totally different because of the different terroirs. So like the cow is eating different things around in the different areas, okay? So you're gonna taste that terroir. It's gonna be totally different. And all of the varieties as well. So if I want to have a full-blood Wagyu from Australia and I want to have a full-blood Wagyu from the US, they're gonna taste totally different. Now if I want to have an F1 cross mixed with Akaushi red versus a 100% full-blood black Wagyu raised in Australia, they're going to taste completely different. Versus an A5 black Wagyu from Japan, totally different mouthfeel, totally different flavors, totally different fat profiles. So it is absolutely does not taste the same no matter where it comes from. So all the different terroirs play such a huge deal in how it tastes at the end of the day. I mean, just think about eating Wagyu from the Midwest versus Wagyu from Washington, or Angus from the Midwest versus Angus from Washington. I mean, like, we're in Seattle. Our Washington beef, I think, tastes different than something that I'm going to get from, like, Vermont or Maine. Absolutely, totally different. From Texas. Totally different. So it's all about the terroirs, what they're being fed, and what they're being fed is generally what's around in that general vicinity, right? We're not just going to import a bunch of new stuff to feed the cows and make sure they all taste the same everywhere. So absolutely does not taste the same everywhere you go. I want that to be absolutely clear. Myth number 8, if it doesn't have crazy marbling, it's not Wagyu. Now, we're covering this. I know it's a little bit repetitive, but this is the stuff that we hear all the time when we're working at our butcher shop. People are saying, that's not Wagyu, it's not marbled enough. I'm like, well, yeah, that is. That's an F1 cross terrace major, okay? Or even an F1 cross tenderloin, okay? I mean, that's not going to be super marbled because tenderloins are generally leaner. Terrace majors aren't the most marbled cut in the cow. So when you're looking at something like that, it's still going to be amazing and buttery and tender and have that great mouthfeel, but it's not going to look like that A5 piece of Wagyu beef that you just Googled. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't have crazy marbling. Remember, it's all about the genetics. There's different types and there's different cuts. All right, A5, a lot of that stuff looks the same, but I can look at an A5 ribeye versus an A5 tenderloin, and the tenderloin is not as marbled as the ribeye. Does that mean it's not A5? No, it just means it's a different cut on the cow. All right, so there's cuts that are going to be more marbled than other cuts. There's going to be F1 crosses versus full bloods versus purebreds. So there's going to be tons and tons of different varieties. There's not just the variety of the Wagyu, there's a variety of the cuts in the cow. So just because it doesn't have crazy marbling does not mean it's not Wagyu. Now, if it has like hardly any marbling, then I might ask the butcher or the restaurant, like, wait, where did you get this Wagyu from? You want to know where it comes from. If it doesn't look like it has any marbling or anything like that, it might not be Wagyu. But generally, if you go to a reputable place and they can tell you exactly where it came from and maybe even show you the certificate, understand that not all of it looks the same. It doesn't have to be crazy marbled because it could be a different variation. It could be an F1 cross, all right? And I'll eat an F1 cross cool-out or New York strip all day long, and it's going to look more than prime, but it's not going to look like A5. And hell, I don't want it to. Myth number 9. Wagyu is only really good when it's the ribeye or the New York strip. Right? Doesn't that sound just so crazy? You're probably looking at me like that's false. I know. We've heard that so much in our butcher shop. These are the myths that people keep coming in with, and it's just hysterical. And some of the best Wagyu cuts that we sell out of our butcher shop are not ribeyes and tenderloins, because a lot of those are too expensive for people. So we'll take the Denver cut, or the zabuton that we like to call it, from the chuck and cut that into steaks, and that's one of our best selling steaks there. I mean, we could we could blow through 50 pounds of that a day if we had enough. And we try to utilize the whole cow because there's so many different cuts in a cow that don't get used because everybody wants the ribeyes, everybody wants the tenderloins, and everybody wants the New York strips. So when you're at a nice butcher shop, start looking for different cuts because it doesn't have to be the ribeyes and the New Yorks. You can have the terrace majors. You can have the ranch steaks. Oh, you have the top sirloin. A Wagyu top sirloin versus an Angus top sirloin. It looks completely different. It's like, it looks amazing. It's just such an upgrade, and they're usually not even that expensive. So it's not just ribeyes and New York strips. There's so many different cuts. So explore all these different cuts. Ask your butcher what they have besides these Hollywood cuts, and try to explore something different and get you something, just a little bit, a little bit different, because those Hollywood cuts are great. They're going to be more expensive, and not all Wagyu is just ribeyes and New York strips. And that's probably what you see at Costco when you look at the A5. I doubt they're selling A5 top sirloin or anything like that. But generally, there's a lot more cuts in the cow than just those two. Myth number 10, and this one all the time: Wagyu is just luxury food for rich people. Man, that's where I want everybody to just really understand that there's so many varieties, like I've said over and over, so many cuts. So you're telling me that you couldn't afford an F1 cross top sirloin that maybe is $12? And some people might not be able to, and that's fine. If you're trying to feed a family of 4 and you can't buy 4 of those, I absolutely understand that. But it's not going to be $250, $350 a pound, okay? There's tons and tons of different varieties and tons of different cuts in the cow that you can choose from. I mean, we sell these amazing, I say almost every video, these zabutons. I do the same thing because they're these strips, and they're just super marble. They look unbelievable, and we sell them for like 17, 18 bucks. And people are like, what? Like, is that price right? I'm like, yeah, it is, because it's a lower end cut that not everybody wants the ribeyes and New Yorks and the tenderloins, like we just talked about. So when you look for these other cuts in the cows, the top sirloin, a London broil, a culotte, picanha, the tri-tip's getting a little bit more expensive. Same with the skirt steak. We've noticed that the price is kind of going up on the skirt steaks. But if you look for like a bavette, flank steaks, and they're starting to get up there a little bit too, because people are loving those and grilling those. But look in the shoulder, the ranch steaks, the terrace majors, the Denver zabutons, the chuck steaks. Those things are going to be super affordable, and you can walk out of a nice butcher shop with a couple of different cuts for maybe $30, $40 and have some amazing beef. Now that might be too pricey for some people, and I absolutely understand that. But if you're trying to, understand Wagyu beef and you want to get into it a little bit, you don't have to go out and buy A5 and spend $100 a pound or $200 a pound, or go buy Kobe beef, which we'll get into later. Buy some local Wagyu that's been raised and has it's traceable back to Japan, and the butcher can show you that. Maybe it's traced by the American Wagyu Association, or it's been tested at the Triple Crown Steak Challenge. But find a butcher that is reputable, that has different cuts that you can explore and experiment with. I mean, we sell so many little cuts. We get people coming in here looking for Wagyu, and I'll sell them a zabuton and a Delmonico and maybe a pack of 2 terrace majors, and maybe they'll spend $45, and like, that's an amazing assortment of meat for $45. Like I said, it is going to be more expensive than just going to Walmart and buying, a bunch of steaks for the family. And I absolutely understand that. We're not trying to say that that's right or wrong, but don't think of it as you have to spend $200, because you don't. You can buy a couple of little steaks, 10, 12, 15 bucks, and get out of there and have an amazing experience. I mean, we sold a Wagyu ranch steak in our butcher shop for like $8. I'm like, dude, it's a ranch steak like this. I mean, that'll feed a person, and it's high quality. So these are some myths here, guys. We just did 10 of them. And if you have any more, if you've seen any more, if you heard any more, if you have questions, drop them in the comments so we can start busting some of these myths. And if you want to learn more about Wagyu, Please subscribe. Go listen to the Meat Dudes podcast. We do a podcast every single, we drop a new one every 2 weeks. And we're trying to do these videos every week. And we're live on all of our socials. And if you have these questions, please ask us, because we want to be the source for Wagyu beef education. And we want you guys to ask us, because we are consumer facing. And we talk to ranchers and producers and associations all over the place. And we want to make sure that the correct information is getting out to you guys. So when you guys go to a store and buy Wagyu beef, you feel comfortable knowing what you're getting into. All right. Got questions? Let us know.